Hey, this is Dave with AllProWebTools. I'm going to be showing you how to set up service contracts for your customers so that they can be attached to estimates or invoices. So the first thing you're going to need is to add the web tool for contracts. So you'll go to Settings and then Web Tools, and you'll scroll down to the bottom here and you'll click on Add a new web tool, and you'll select Contracts from the menu. Once you've done that, you will then see under the Store item on the menu bar a new item called Contracts. So we'll go ahead and click on that. So on this screen, we can create as many contracts as we want, and we can attach several contracts to each estimate or even just one contract to different estimates. So we'll go ahead and create our first contract. And we'll create that. All right, so now that we've created the contract, we're going to go ahead and edit the content of that contract. So I'll go ahead and put in our legal speak. And we can also add areas for our customer to initial. And we do that by selecting the short codes here, and we'll click on Contract Initials. And that puts this little tag in here, which is going to be converted into a box where the customer will be asked to initial. So I'm going to go ahead and put two areas where they can initial. And there's also an option where you can ask for a yes/no answer. So we'll go ahead and put a yes/no in here. And then finally at the bottom, there will always be an area where they can digitally sign the contract. So you don't need to put any kind of a tag at the bottom for that. So now we'll go ahead and save the contract. So now that the contract is saved, we can go ahead and attach it to an estimate. So we'll start by looking up the customer that we would like to create the estimate for. And now that we're looking at their record, we can click on New Order. Now that we're on the New Order screen, we're going to go ahead and put in some items that will be included in this estimate. And down here, we'll click on Show Estimate. So now that we're looking at the estimate overview, down here at the bottom, it says Attach a Contract. So we're going to go ahead and click on the contract that we want to attach to this estimate. And if we had several contracts, we could select any number of those contracts to attach to this estimate. And now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and send an email to the customer with that estimate and the contracts. So we can see that's been sent out now. So this would be the email account of your customer. And so they would open up the email from you, and they would see this email, which you can adjust the template to your branding. And right here it says to view your contract. So we'll go ahead and click on that. So now you can see the contract that we created. And here we have the option to initial. So we'll just click there to initial and click here to initial. And then we get to choose yes or no here. And then down here, we get to put in our signature. And we can submit that. And now after we've submitted the contract, it's going to be digitally signed, and it's going to record the IP address of the person that signed it and a number of other things to identify them. And then they're going to be taken right on to the invoice page where they can make the payment for that estimate. So here it's asking for the credit card number. We're going to go ahead and put that in. And we're going to click Place Order. Now, what's interesting about how the system is configured, the customer cannot make the purchase of that estimate, turn it into an invoice, without agreeing to the contract first. So you're always guaranteed that if they've made a payment, that they must have signed the contract. You can also visually verify this by going to their record. So by going back to your console, you can find the customer who made the purchase. And when you look at their order history, you'll see their most recent order, and you can open up that order. And here you'll see a link that says View Contracts for this estimate, click here. So that right there indicates that they have filled out the contract. But if you want to see it visually, you can click on that link. And that will show you the contract right there. All right, now that the order's been paid, we can go ahead and click on View My Invoice. So now the customer can see the invoice for the items that they purchased. And as they scroll down, they can see a copy of the contract that was signed, including the digital signature at the bottom. And there's also a link they can click if they want to see an exact duplicate of how they signed the original contract, which would include their initials, their yes, no question, and the electronic signature at the bottom. Now, if you don't want your customer to have the contract attached to the bottom of the invoice, it's a simple adjustment. You can go back to your control panel, go back to settings and invoicing, and then go to PDF options. And at the bottom, it says include contracts at bottom of invoice. Just turn that switched off and they will no longer see the contract at the bottom of the invoice. And that's all there is to it. That's how you set up contracts and how you add them to estimates and invoices.